So I ordered some rose gold overtone. Overtone is basically pigmented conditioner, and I figured when we were a little bit more deep in the deep in the depths of quarantine, is when I had this idea to do this, because I was like, well, nobody's gonna see me anyway. So basically what I'm gonna do, instead of making a really boring video where you just sit there and watch me put gunk in my hair, I thought that I would talk a little bit about a subject that has kind of been like brewing away in my noggin, and kind of like do the color, do the rant. First of all, let's just talk a little bit about this product. They give you a little, like, yeah, it's gloves for your hands. I hope they are nice gloves. We'll see. Oh, they're like food safety gloves. I'm just gonna get my hands dirty. We can't have this sound the entire time. That's terrible. What are we thinking? No, I could go get rubber gloves out of the car. I mean, out of the van. Why do I have rubber gloves in the van? Well, because it's with like my food prep stuff, and sometimes you don't feel like washing your hands 40,000 times when you touch chicken, so you just put on gloves, and then you can take your gloves off in between touching the chicken and touching the other things, so you don't cross-contaminate. And we've all learned a lot about cross-contamination. That's what color it is. It's burnt sienna looking. But it's gonna turn out rose gold, apparently. Hopefully. Oh. I can't stop smelling it. It smells really good. It smells like mint. So there's all kinds of good stuff in here. Water, there is alcohol in it, a couple different kinds. There's coconut oil, shea butter, jojoba seed oil, avocado oil, evening primrose oil, olive oil, sesame oil, linseed oil, hydroxypropyl trimonium chloride. It's from guar, so not like guar, like the horrible band, but like guar gum. Some kind of acid, some more kind of alcohol, and a bunch of different colors. And then rosemary oil and spearmint oil. So, how am I going to do this? Well, I'll show you. So, first section of my hair, first section of the rant. I wanted to talk about what Mick Hucknall can teach us about confidence. And buckle up, folks. Who is Mick Hucknall? Mick Hucknall is the singer for a band called Simply Red. And Simply Red is kind of jazzy, but I don't hold it against them. They're more Blue-Eyed Soul. I just like groovy things, okay? And this guy's voice, like Mick Hucknall's voice is just probably their most famous song is Holding Back the Years. If that song doesn't give you chills. I was going to say chills. I never actually came back to that point. But yes, if that song doesn't give you chills, you're probably dead. There is something magical about Mick Hucknall's voice. Just, oh God. And if you heard his voice, but you didn't see him, you would never, I don't think you'd ever be able to guess what he looks like.
Well, I wasted all my tears, wasted all of those years, and nothing had the chance to be good, 'cause nothing ever could. Oh, no, no.
He's really not who you would think of as like the poster child for like this media maligned lady killer musician. But he was the face of his band. They marketed him. And he didn't look like anybody else. He looked like him. He wasn't like your stereotypical nothing. So this kind of came about because not consecutively, simultaneously, I've been on kind of delving into the subject of confidence, and I'm also on my second little Simply Red kick. My first Simply Red kick was when I was in culinary school, driving back and forth, and I would listen to this greatest hits Simply Red CD that I had. Actually, I still have it. I should go get it. This Simply Red greatest hits album as I was driving and sing the entire thing. I would listen to that in between Scorpions, Animal Magnetism, and this Joan Armatrading greatest hits album. It's kind of a weird mix, right? Well, I'm kind of an odd bird. And speaking of birds, Mick got a lot of birds in his time. Models, mostly. To each his own, I guess. Good for him. So there's this show called Classic Albums, which is actually probably what warranted my first little Simply Red kick. That show's fantastic. They do all kinds of, it's a British show, and they go through, well, yeah, what do you know, classic albums like Fleetwood Mac Rumors and Meatloaf Bad Outta Hell and Hysteria, Def Leppard, and Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon, and Jimi Hendrix Experience, and Cream, Disraeli Gears, and they go through these albums and they'll tell the story about it, and they'll even like do kind of go back to the mixer, and they'll show you different parts of the mix so you can hear isolated tracks, and that's honestly one of my favorite things that happens. So anyways, in the Simply Red one for the album Stars, they have Mick in there talking about how the media was always like slagging him off. Like they were just always ripping on him. And all it really actually did was just reveal that whoever it was that was writing these things was just super jealous. Talking about, oh, I'm really miffed that Mick eats all these birds and he's got red hair. What's he doing with all these birds? The ginger minger, and what's he doing with all these birds? When really it's like, well, why can't I get a bird? Just, can't you see what you're saying about yourself? You're probably thinking like, well, you know, he's rich and famous. Of course he can get models. Like that's what happens when you get money and all that stuff. But like, to be fair, one of his bandmates, the trumpet player, I forget what his name is. I think it's Tim.
There are some who call me Tim.
He's like, to be fair, he could pull a good-looking girlfriend before he was rich and famous. Like when he was DJing and all that. And he was wearing crappy clothes and, you know, he was nobody, basically. Oh my god, I look like Flock of Seagulls. This is insane. I don't know about this. I want to make sure I get my roots. If this is patchy, I'm going to be upset. You know, I had visions of this, like, looking like I knew what I was doing. I absolutely do not. Look at it. And now for something completely different. So basically what happened is I lost a chunk of footage. So I thought I probably would be able to just explain what I needed to explain and wrap up my video in a much better way this way than if I would have cobbled everything together. So why? Why are we talking about this? Why Mick Hucknall? Well, in Classic Albums also, his bandmates and his manager and just like everybody during this thing was always talking about how magnetic and charismatic that Mick Hucknall is and was, and how he would just have this love of life that he could convey to people, and how he had this ability to listen to the people that he was trying to attract, or that were trying to attract him. And he really does just have this way about him that I can't necessarily explain, but of course that is exactly what I'm trying to do, is explain it. What is this about this person that makes them this way? But there's like 2 points of interest that I can bring up to sort of confirm that his charisma and his magneticness. The first one is the music video, the actual music video for the song New Flame. You get to see sort of Mick's interaction with those girls a little bit, and they're all different and they're all beautiful in their own way. And so as he's singing, just the way that he, you know how singers, like, they'll do certain things that pertain to the lyrics of the song or the way that the song goes, and just certain things that they do, and just his little mannerisms and his attitude that goes with them, and his spins and his expressions are so perfect. Pretty hilarious, actually, and just very, they have a swagger to them. There's just something really attractive about the way he goes about himself, the way that he is in this video. And his interaction with the person at the end, who actually also kind of illustrates this point of confidence and attractiveness that I'm trying to make. Just everything about, I mean, it makes my cheeks hurt. It makes me smile so much. I don't know. I think it's adorable. I think it's funny. I think it's kind of sexy in a very understated way. And I really hope that you guys all go watch it. My second point is the Montreux Jazz Fest 1992 footage. And I don't know why everything cool happens the same year I was born, but he brings that same cheekiness to that whole concert. And I especially like the Something Got Me Started footage of that show because of the way that, well, mostly I love that he's just dancing. I'd never seen him actually like dancing before, but I love that he's dancing and he's just letting loose. He's dancing however he wants. He's being cool, and he's being cool not because he like legitimately has like the best moves or whatever. He's so cool because he's just doing what he does and loving it and bringing it and singing perfectly. I don't even know what else to say about that other than that he's just on fire now. He's just on fire. He's bringing so much energy. It's just like bursting out of him and dancing and like throwing all his hair everywhere and being, you know, his cheeky self, and just, oh, he's being so cool, and it gets me so pumped up. This song gets me so pumped up because of that. And it's like, if I didn't already kind of feel like dancing because of the song, just watching him dance would make me want to dance. It's infectious. And all that magnetism and that charisma and his love of life that they were talking about, and just letting himself have the, you know, just having the audacity to do what he wants and to feel great and let that motivate him in his actions is incredibly attractive. And like I said, I think actually this entire concert, if you get a chance to watch it, there's other ones that are just as good as this one, but this is the one that I saw that it just hit me. Hit me! That being sexy as hell has almost nothing to do with being classically good looking. And that and it's not like that's not something that I haven't always kind of known, but it's not always something that really like gets in here and changes the way you see things and do things. I mean, I've always said that rock stars kind of had this way of being sexy without being good looking. Look at Steven Tyler, for goodness sake. There's no way in the world you could ever convince me that that man has been or ever will be legitimately good-looking man. But there are millions, thousands. There are gobs of women that think that he is super sexy. I'm not one of them. But you see my point. So altogether, what does this actually have to do with confidence? Like, I'm kind of piecing some things together here, but they're not quite coming together. Part of the reason is because I've been watching Matthew Hussey videos. Oh, Becca, you're revealing a lot about yourself. They're like, do you need some help? No, not really. Matthew Hussey wrote the book, Get the Guy. And the videos he makes are actually really pretty good quality. They're not just all about, you know, how to wrestle you up a man. Oh, no! It's not really the way it is. But it's about understanding more about male psychology, which I appreciate. I'm always interested in psychology. Also, basically, I think the be-all and the end-all of most of the videos amounts to being the most complete, happy, interesting person with your own world and life and ambitions and goals and self-worth and value, which is probably the most important thing, is becoming a person of value and knowing your value. Then subsequently you will attract and know that you're attracting the right kind of man, if that's what you want. And so as I was watching these videos, there was one in there that talked about, like, is he too hot for me? Because that's a concern of people. I think it's a legitimate concern. I mean, everybody gets insecure about the way they look, even if they're absolutely stunningly gorgeous. Every person in this world has some insecurity of some sort. But the thing about it is that your being beautiful or being hot has to do with so much more than what your face looks like in a still photo with all its objective symmetry and all this baloney that basically we don't really have all that much control over. We can't help the way we look when we were born. Obviously, we can take care of ourselves, and we should try to look our best, but ultimately, we are dealt a hand at birth. And that's one of the things that he talked about in one of his videos that really stuck with me. It's a complete waste of time to be sitting there worrying about stuff that we can never change, especially when there is something we can actually do to make ourselves extremely attractive, regardless of what our actual face looks like, or body, or whatever. And this all wouldn't even matter at all, except for that people place so much stock in your appearance as pertaining to, you know, being confident. They think that, oh, if I was only better looking, then I could be confident, which is just a horrible lie that people tell themselves that I wish we would all stop believing. And back to that idea of being dealt a hand at birth, and the fact that that's really the key, is playing that hand absolutely the best possible way that you can. That's really what makes an incredibly attractive person, is someone who works with what they have and they work with it well. And I guess you could think that maybe this is kind of a shallow topic in general, but I think that being an attractive person, as far as attracting people, not just in a physical sense, but being, you know, having people want to be around you, wanting your energy, things like that, I think that's an incredibly admirable goal. I mean, I personally want my energy to just be like bursting out of my pores and like be in everybody's sunshine. That's what I want. But that's the thing. It comes down to your energy. It comes down to things about you that you cannot possibly capture in a selfie. You can't capture who you are on the inside, your hopes and your dreams, what you look like when you're laughing and happy, and I mean, not truly. You can take a picture of somebody laughing, but seeing and feeling somebody laughing and the fact that it makes you laugh too, I mean, you can't get that in a selfie, besides the point that nobody ever takes selfies of themselves laughing. I can't capture our thoughts and our feelings and all the things that actually make a person them and that actually make a person beautiful. And so I guess the point of the whole thing is that it's completely clear to me that Mick Hucknall knows how to play the hand he was dealt so well. He knows how to just let his energy burst out of him, and to have the audacity to be himself and to think what he wants and to feel what he wants, and, you know, to do it all unapologetically. Really, he knew how to surround himself with the best musicians that he possibly could because he wasn't afraid of being overshadowed. And that's what confident people do. Confident people don't sit there and compare themselves and be afraid that somebody else is going to be better than them. And it's not because they really truly believe that nobody else is better than them, because there's always going to be somebody better in some way. Always going to be somebody smarter, always going to be somebody like objectively prettier, always going to be something more of something than us. But you don't compare. You don't compare because nobody else is going to be the combination of factors that makes you uniquely you. Mick Hucknall is incredibly attractive because of his confidence, not the other way around. He expresses what's on the inside through his voice, through his attitude, and I think he is a fantastic study in confidence. So, with all of that being said, I took a shower, I got my makeup done, and the next part of the video is going to be the reveal of what my hair looked like. It's not what it looks like now. What my hair looked like whenever I got done with the overtone. So, enjoy.
I moved back the tables and the chairs to the wall.